This is Friday. We're doing our notebooking for our water filtration. Savannah, I'm so glad you're here. It makes me feel good, like someone to talk to. Of course, you ladies are good to talk to too, but Savannah, I'm really glad you're here. Okay.
Savannah's better. It's okay.
Yeah, grab some water. So I am going to show you our water bottle filtration systems here. So I'm going to start with the one that I'll just bring them over here. My camera is going to move all kinds of different directions, so just letting you guys know right now. Okay, so this was the one that we did where we tried to filter it twice, right? So I had to kind of level it up. We filtered it once and then we filtered twice. So if you can see, this has been in here since Wednesday, and there's just a few droplets. I don't know if you guys can tell. So most of the entire towel is soaking wet at this point, but what's in the towel, or what's in the part where we filtered, it's, that's all that's in there. So it could be we could make different conclusions about that, right? We could say, this towel was very, very, very absorbent. We also didn't have a whole lot of water. I'm just gonna continue to leave this here. We have different experiments next week, but I'm gonna just leave this and see how it works out. Okay, so there's that. And then the one that we did together was where we just filtered. This is filtered once, so we could see our filtration has worked, and you could see the water is still is clear, right? But it's not necessarily clean, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So the camera makes it look like it's clearer than it is. It's still a little yellow. So there's that one. And then the one that I did with the paper towel instead of a towel looks like this. So the entire towel is soaked. This has been going since Wednesday, and it's about halfway through. And I'm just gonna continue to leave it, maybe, and just kind of watch it, maybe just check on it every day and see how long it takes to go through. And if you can see, what we used for our filtration system was the towel, and you can see the towel has, it's caught a lot of the particles and dirt in there. Okay, is it ringing a bell a little bit now, Savannah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then I'm gonna move these over here because, I wanna bring up the one that we did with the towel. The mud and all the particles are getting stuck.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I know. So let me put that here. So the next part, so that's our experiment. So I'm going to show you guys our notebook. And so I'm going to scoot my camera this way, and it's going to take a second to adjust, because I'm going to mainly just be showing you my notebook. So bear with me while you can see this. Pretty good. Hey, this makes it more real. Let me see. So now you guys know the struggle of my students when I'm making videos and stuff. Hopefully I didn't make you too busy. Okay, so this is the first page in the notebook. And like I mentioned, Ms. Scott earlier, I'm gonna take pictures of this, and we're gonna post it in our Bitmoji classroom, so you'll be able to see this and copy them down. So here's experiment week 1. It says filtering pollution, water pollution. Okay, I don't know if you guys can hear. I have to attend to my son for just a second. Ms. Scott, can you talk about this paper or this page really quick? It's about the vocabulary. Thank you.
Okay, so in the first video that we showed on Monday, we learned that vocabulary of the 2 words of vocabulary was potable, which means drinkable. And then the second word was turbidity, which means when water is not clear, it is turbid. And so the it's the adverb of or actually the noun of turbid. So it is turbidity, is the amount of dirt and stuff inside of water. And so you can see at the bottom that there's the 2 cups that she has there, one that has stuff in it, the sediments in it and stuff, and it says not clear, and the one that has been filtered and it says that it is clear. I wanted to, Savannah, do you remember when we went to the zoo last summer? Do you remember that? And remember that we fed the stingrays?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember when we had to wash our hands first?
Yeah.
Do you remember what the sign on the water says? It says, "This is not potable water." Now, it was water that was suitable for washing our hands, but it was not suitable for drinking. So this is kind of our illustration of just because water is clear does not necessarily mean that it's clean and ready for us to drink. So that's really kind of the difference. Potable means that it is absolutely ready and safe for us to be able to drink. Yeah, so that's that page. Oh, good. Are you back?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. So we talked about the vocab?
Yes.
Okay. So I drew some little images on there. It's really cool, or a good idea that when you're writing anything or taking notes, adding color and images helps. So we have our 2 vocabulary words that Miss Scott went over with us the first week. And then we have our 3 steps to clean water. So our first was sediment. And then we had filtration and disinfection, which all equals potable or drinkable water, as Ms. Scott was discussing. Our experiment focused on filtration, so we talked about that. So that was our focus. And feel free to watch the videos that Ms. Scott posted on, I think this was on Monday, huh?
Monday and Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday, and you could draw little images to represent each one. Then for the experiments, in case you forgot, the materials that we needed, 2 bowls or 2 cups. I used, like I said, cut up water bottles, empty water bottles. You could use paper towels, a piece of torn fabric or towel, or a shoelace, water and dirt. So instead of using the paper towel, you could use a shoelace to connect both cups. And I drew images of what we could use. So I drew like our 2 cups, some water, we needed some dirt, and then this is supposed to be a paper towel. I don't know if you can tell. I tried my best.
Your dirt's awesome.
My dirt. And these are some observations I made. So if you don't have a printer at home and you can't print, you can always just draw this. But I just took pictures. So the same day that we did everything, I took pictures of everything. So this is the one that I did on my own before kind of starting with the paper towel. This is the one with the actual towel. Just took a picture of what it looked like before everything happened. And then this is the one that we filtered twice. So I filtered twice. The first time was through this little thing that we made. So we layered rocks and tissue paper to filter the water once. And then this was the second filtration that we were using.
And you can see all these experiments on our Wednesday video.
Yes.
So we did them.
So this is an idea. You can, like, if you don't have a printer, you like to draw, this is a good time to draw what you see. Okay. And then this is our observation page. So we talked about a hypothesis in the beginning of the video. And so I have 2 pages that look like this. So I'll explain the difference. So this is the one that we filtered. So these are observations for the one that we filtered first with just the towel, which is this one here. And then I have a second page of observations, which is the one that we filtered twice. So I have on there filtered twice. and that one is with this one here. So I observed for roughly an hour, about an hour, and then I watched it a few hours later. So for the first one, the hypothesis that we thought about is, I think that it will take 3 hours for the water to filter through. I think the paper towel will deteriorate within 6 hours. So actually that's not right. So this is my hypothesis for the experiment that I did on my own. So this is actually what I did think was going to happen with the paper towel. So I'm going to write that. That was with the paper towel. So this hypothesis does not go with this experiment, but it's okay. The point of hypothesis is just to write what we think is going to happen. And when we did the first one, I don't think we talked about it. We talked about it the second time. So, but the observations are for this experiment. So my observations, I did increments of 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, I put a timer on. I just quickly wrote what I saw. So there was one drop, it's very wet. The middle point of the towel is very wet. After 20 minutes, it looked about the same. After 30 minutes, there was dirt along the bottom of the towel. So the dirt was starting to kind of come up. After 40 minutes, the towel was a little damp, and it's damp about 3/4 of the way. And after 50 minutes, it was very damp 3/4 of the way. So it was getting a lot more wet. And then after an hour, water is a lot more damp, or the towel is a lot more damp, at least halfway through, but it's not drenched. And then 4 hours later, so I just let it sit, and 4 hours later, about 1/4 of the water had filtered through. I didn't write that, filtered through. So I have minutes, and I guess it's not just minutes here because now I then put hours. So when you're labeling things, you can always go and adjust. So I could put here hours, right? And then I could put here days, because 3 days on the third day, which is today, the water is about half of the water. Half of the water has filtered over. And as you can see, or we talked about, the water is, the camera, it looks pretty clear, but it really, when you're in person, it's not that clear. So I'll write that. Water is filtered over. Water is not clear. And then I can just keep this going, right? I could put day 4, day 5, and just keep on observing. So being a scientist, or just being someone interested in, or doing an experiment, the observations is important. Making sure you're writing down is important, and you're keeping track of your things. This is for the filtration that we did. We filtered it twice. So this, we did do a hypothesis. We said we think it will take, and I think it was Aileen, Ms. Scott, Aileen. We said we think it will take 30 minutes for the water to filter through the towel. And so we can look at what happened. So we have minutes. So after 10 minutes, there's nothing. There's an empty cup. There's water in the towel up to the opening about halfway. After 20 minutes, it was still the same. Now 30 minutes, so we can see if our hypothesis was correct. The towel was somewhat damp halfway through. After 40 minutes, no water at the other end. Water is damp about 3/4 of the way, so more than halfway the towel was damp. And then 15 minutes, same as 40 minutes. So nothing really changed. And 4 hours later, so here's where we could put, hours. 4 hours later, there was like a few droplets, but not much. And then today is the third day. You could see a small, can't see it very well, but it's very, very, very minimal water on the other cup. So minimal amount of water on the other side. It was on TV, Aries, that's why. And so the third day observations, I just did you could print a picture or you can draw a picture. My lighting isn't very good, but you could label the picture. So there is actually no water here. This is the one with the towel. This has a towel as well. And this is the paper towel. And then I marked here the level of water here. I can mark here. This is the water as well. So just making observations and drawing what you see. That's all it is. There's no perfect or right way to do it. It's kind of however you want to. Okay. So now we filtered the water, but we did not clean it. So if you watched Ms. Scott's video from yesterday, she talked about things that can harm us. So there are in the water, just because it's clear, it does not mean that it's clean. It's ready for us to eat. It's ready for us to drink. So one thing that it can have bacteria. And here my little bacteria can look many different ways, but here's my little images of bacteria. It can have protozoa. No, I was supposed to write viruses first. I'll come back to protozoa.
Either way.
I know, but I have my notes down, and so it's just like I go by my notes. So it can have viruses. So we're all familiar with the virus right now. So that's my best version of a virus. The protozoa, which is a one-celled animal, and so they can look different ways. So this is my version of it. That's one. And you can add color to these however you want. Okay, so there could be bacteria, protozoa, or viruses. We cannot see them. So we don't know if they're there or not. So even though the water's clear, you might want to do things to help clean up your water. So Ms. Scott talked about in the videos different things that can happen where you might need to know how to clean your water. So things like natural disasters. She talked about in the US, is it 2006? 2005? 2005, Hurricane Katrina happened in the US. And so if we were in a situation where we're in a natural disaster, we might need to know how to clean our water to get rid of these agents that can hurt us. So there's 5 different ways that we can clean our water, and maybe more, right? Because we have our inventors contest. Don't be limited to anything. You never know. You can be inventing different ways to clean water. So this is an idea. If you're thinking about the inventors contest, think about a way that you think would work to clean our water. So the 5 different ways, and this was a video that was posted yesterday by Ms. Scott. So the first way you could clean water is by boiling it. And you would need to do that for at least 10 minutes. Okay. Second way is bleach. And we learned that it would be 3 drops per gallon. A third way we could clean our water is using iodine. So it's something you'd have to buy. So you wait an hour, and then it's you put in 1 cap full. So it comes in a little container. So you put 1 cap full per a quart, and a quart is 32 ounces. So that's about 4 cups. About 4 cups. A fourth way to clean your water would be to pump it, and there's a special pump. And Ms. Scott mentioned you have to make sure that it has microbial filtering. So it's a very special pump. that you would purchase. And then, oops, number 6. You're going to come up with number 6. Number 5 is a SteriPen. And what this does is it uses ultraviolet light to clean the water, and it cleans about a bottle size of water. So it's not for for large amounts, or for, it's for smaller quantities. So if you want to make a preparedness for a natural disaster, just for anything, these are things to consider. So you could drink water. So you know how to filter it, and then you know how to clean it of any bacteria, virus, or protozoa that could hurt us. Okay, and for all of these, you can add some pictures, add some color. So for example, for boiling it, maybe I want to add a little fire there. And you could, whatever's going to help you remember, whatever's going to make it fun for you guys. And the last thing I want to put on here is, or just kind of put out there, is your thoughts. So what are your thoughts here? What are your takeaways from the experiment? What are things that you learned? Your conclusions? Were you right about your hypothesis? Just in general, what you thought, and you could even add, doodles as well. And that's it for week 1.
Oh, that's some awesome notebooking right there, Mrs. Ramos.
Thank you. I'm gonna face me now. I'm back.
Miss
Yeah.
Savannah, do you have any questions? If you're talking, we can't hear you. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, are you gonna do this notebook idea? Because I think it's really awesome. I mean, there was a lot of information this week, and I think it'd be a great way to keep track of it all.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Add as much color as you want.
Well, Savannah, thank you for joining us in our video, and I hope that you come back for our experiment and video next week as well. We're going to be learning some stuff about pollution uptake in plants, which is really going to be cool and informative. Okay?
Okay.
All right, and I will see you next week too, right, for our meeting?
Right.
Right. Okay, good. All right, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Savannah.
Okay.
Good job,
So-
ladies.